Overpowered Cultivation, system showers rookie with insane rewards. Please like, share and subscribe. Episode 1, Martial Arts World, Super Invincible God King Training System. I actually traveled through time. The Sky Realm, a martial arts world where everyone practices martial arts, where martial arts are respected and fists are power. Whoever has the bigger fist is right. Ling Feng sat at the entrance of the village, staring blankly at the setting sun in the distance. He was originally a fresh graduate from Blue Star, who had just entered society and was ready to show his skills. Unexpectedly, he was greeted by endless overtime and his boss's PCU. Finally, during an overtime, he died suddenly from staying up all night. When he woke up, he arrived in this brand new martial arts world. As a member of Lingjia village, his parents died early, and he had been making a living since he was 10 years old. He either followed the adults into the mountains to chop wood, or helped to deal with the prey when he came back from hunting in the village. Anyway, he did everything he could to make a living. Until Ling Feng traveled through time and merged with the consciousness of the original owner. Seeing the life of the original owner over the years, he couldn't help but feel distressed. What a pitiful and strong child. He sighed. Turned back to the village. The villagers along the way greeted him when they saw him. Xiaofeng, come to my house for dinner tomorrow. Xiaofeng, come and chop wood tomorrow, the same price. The villagers were very enthusiastic. They also liked this self-reliant child from the bottom of their hearts. They all used their own methods to help each other. Some people were afraid of hitting the child's self-esteem, so they tried to make the child work and then give benefits. This has been the way for all these years. Ling Feng smiled and nodded one by one. By the way, Ling Feng, you should get ready. Tomorrow, the adults of the Bayun sect will come to test the children's roots. If they are favored, they can join the Bayun sect. This is a good opportunity to soar to the sky. The village chief said to Ling Feng. Hearing this, Ling Feng couldn't help but be moved. In this world, warriors are supreme. Everyone is proud of practicing martial arts. It is said that some powerful warriors can even fly into the sky and hide in the ground, move mountains and overturn the sea, just like the legendary immortals. If I come to this world and don't practice martial arts, wouldn't it be a pity? Ling Feng thought to himself. The next day, he got up early and washed up, waiting for the arrival of the Bayun sect. Whoosh! A white figure came from a distance, flying in the wind and landing on the village square like a fallen leaf. Seeing this, Ling Feng's eyes lit up. Is this a warrior? He can actually ride the wind, so amazing. The white figure was a middle-aged man in white clothes with slightly white temples. After he came to the village, he waved his sleeves. A huge jade stone suddenly stood on the square. Is this a storage ring? Ling Feng noticed that the other party was wearing a ring in his hand. When the jade appeared, the ring flashed. Riding the wind, storage ring. It seems that this is a high-level martial arts world that may be similar to cultivating immortals. Ding! Detected the presence of a warrior near the host. The Super Invincible God King Training System is being activated. At this time, a voice appeared in Ling Feng's mind. It's the system. The golden thigh of the time traveler. His eyes lit up. System is successfully activated. Ding! Newbie gift package has arrived. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the martial arts holy body. Ling Feng only felt a sudden surge of warmth in his body, and then his limbs and bones gradually became full of strength. Although he couldn't see anything on the outside, a drastic change had taken place inside. Martial arts holy body sounds very powerful. Give such a good reward at the beginning? It seems that my system is quite generous. Ling Feng murmured. This is natural. As a super invincible God King training system, if it is stingy to give rewards, it will be laughed at by other systems. The voice of the system sounded. It sounds like a 7 or 8-year-old girl. A baby voice. System, how do we get rewards? Ling Feng asked curiously. The system has various ways to get rewards. You can get rewards by pretending to be awesome, punishing evil and promoting good, and killing demons, etc. It's all about diversity and diversification. In a word, the host can fly with confidence. Well, okay. Ling Feng was a little skeptical. At this time, the man in white in the square was already testing the root bones of the children in the village. One by one, the children walked in front of the jade and put their palms on it. The jade immediately emitted different colors of light. Fan goo, next one. Fan goo again. Sure enough, there are not many seedlings in this wilderness. The man in white sighed. Soon it was Ling Feng's turn, and he didn't hold out much hope. But when Ling Feng put his hand on the jade, the whole jade shook with a rumble, and a golden light shot up into the sky. The man in white took a breath and looked at Ling Feng in shock, looking unbelievable. Golden light, is this the martial arts saint body? He felt a little dizzy. Just now, they were all ordinary people with no martial arts qualifications. How come a martial arts saint body suddenly appeared? This is too much of a reversal. The villagers looked at the golden light and guessed that Ling Feng was extraordinary. Haha, I said, Xiao Feng is born extraordinary, and he will definitely be able to stand out in the future. My vision is right. Good, good, good. My Lingjia village is going to have a warrior too. That's great. Ling Feng also silently withdrew his hand. He thought that the martial arts saint body would cause some commotion. But he didn't expect it to be so big. Sure, enough. The system's products must be top-notch. Ding. The host was shocked when testing his root bones. Reward the host with 1,000 top-grade spirit stones. Top-grade spirit stones? Isn't this something that only exists in the world of immortal cultivation? Ling Feng was a little confused. Spirit stones are the product of a place with abundant spiritual energy. This world has rich spiritual energy and developed martial arts, so there are also spirit stones, the system explained. I see, but I don't have a place to hide spirit stones. If these 1,000 spirit stones suddenly appear, how should I explain it? It's okay, host, the system has its own space. I will put the reward in the system space first. Next time I will give you a storage ring reward, which is convenient to carry. Can you also reserve the next reward? This system, is it serious? Ling Feng blinked, feeling a kind of pampering. Great. This little brother, what's your name? The middle-aged man in white stared at Ling Feng with fiery eyes. It was like a pervert looking at a peerless beauty. Ling Feng. Ling Feng, what a good name, what a good name. I will be at the top of the world, overlooking all the other mountains. The middle-aged man in white praised. Ling Feng was happy. How could he not know that his name had this meaning? Ling Feng, you have outstanding talent, you should not be buried here, come with me back to Bayun sect, that is where you can show your talents. Ling Feng, why don't you thank the Lord quickly? At this time, the village chief came up and said hurriedly. He wanted to see Ling Feng stand out more than anyone else. Such a good opportunity was right in front of him, and naturally he didn't want to see him miss it. Thank you, sir. Ling Feng did not refuse, and said with a bow. Okay, my Bayun sect will welcome a top genius. The middle-aged man in white laughed happily. Episode 2. Entering Bayun sect, the elders scramble for positions. After agreeing to join Bayun sect, Ling Feng left with the middle-aged man in white the next day. Before leaving, he said goodbye to the villagers. Village chief, when I succeed in martial arts, I will definitely come to you. When the time comes, I will definitely develop Lingjia village into Lingjia town or even Lingjia city, and then I will let you be the mayor of the town. Ling Feng said seriously. Okay, I'll wait for that day. Village chief smiled and patted Ling Feng on the shoulder. Xiao Feng, I heard from others that although becoming a warrior is a good thing, the road of martial arts is also full of various unknown risks. You must remember to be careful and plan everything carefully before taking action. Got it, village chief. After saying goodbye to the villagers, Ling Feng followed the middle-aged man in white and left. By the way, sir, how far is Bayun sect? Oh, you don't need to call me sir. I am the elder of Bayun sect. My last name is Li. You can call me Elder Li. As for Bayun sect, it is about 800 miles away from here. If you have fast legs, you can reach it in one day. 800 miles? One day? Really? Ling Feng was stunned for a moment, but when he thought that Elder Li could ride the wind, he suddenly realized that he could fly, so what was the big deal about walking 800 miles a day? Then Ling Feng asked about the martial arts of this world. According to Elder Li, this world is called the Sky Realm. The martial arts are divided into 9 major realms from weak to strong, namely, acquired, innate, martial arts master, martial arts spirit, martial arts master, martial arts king, martial arts master, martial arts saint and martial arts emperor, and each realm is divided into 9 levels. It is said that above the martial arts emperor, one can break the void and ascend to the upper realm. But in the Sky Realm, from ancient times to the present, not many people can do this. This realm of martial arts master and martial arts master is really old-fashioned. Ling Feng complained in his heart. But the next second, he was grabbed by the shoulders by elderly. The whole thing rose from the ground and was carried up into the air. The scenery on both sides was quickly retreating, and the speed was as fast as riding a high-speed train. Elderly, what realm of cultivation can be like you, flying on the wind? Ling Feng asked with some expectation. To fly on the wind, at least you have to reach the level of a martial artist, and I only use Qinggong. If you reach the level of martial spirit, you can even turn your true energy into wings and fly in the air. How long does it take to cultivate to the level of martial spirit? Ordinary people will spend at least 10 or even dozens of years, but you are a martial arts saint. I don't think it will take that long, but how long it will take depends on you. After all, this is the first time I have seen a martial arts saint. Oh. Ling Feng stopped asking. He was looking forward to the next martial arts practice. From sunrise to sunset, and then to the rising sun. Ling Feng, elderly, finally arrived at Bayun sect, a sect located in the mountains, surrounded by clouds and mist, with countless buildings built along the mountains and rivers. It feels like a blessed place for immortals. Elderly took Ling Feng over one mountain after another, and finally came to a golden-roofed hall on a 1,000-foot mountain. There were many people gathered in the hall, talking about it. The seedling that Elder Wang brought back this time is not bad. He has 9 martial veins and excellent bones. In time, he will definitely be a martial spirit or even a martial sect-level strongman. Ha, God bless my Bayun sect. Everyone looked at a girl in red and exclaimed. Not bad, Elder Wang, you did a good job this time. Go to the pill pavilion to get a Shangqing pill. A white-haired old man smiled. Elder Wang's face was happy, thank you, sect master. The white-haired old man looked at the girl in red and smiled. Your name is Gu Linglong, right? Are you willing to become my disciple? Everyone was a little surprised. I didn't expect the sect master to accept a disciple in person. At this time, an old man in black robe with white hair and youthful face came out and said, Master, you are very busy with affairs, so I guess you don't have the extra time to teach your disciples. Why don't you let Gu Linglong become my disciple? I will definitely teach you with all my heart. Everyone looked at him with a gloomy look. Great elder, you have already accepted 4 disciples, all of whom are outstanding. It's not easy to find another good one. Don't compete with me. The Bayun sect master said calmly. Yes. Let the sect master accept a disciple. Even if the sect master is busy, he will not have no time to teach his disciples. You have so many disciples. If there is another Gu Linglong, how can you teach them all by yourself? Everyone also spoke up to stop the great elder. A trace of haze appeared in the great elder's eyes, but he finally gave up. At this time, Elderly brought Ling Feng into the hall. Everyone looked at him curiously. Oh, Elderly is back, and he brought someone with him. Is this the disciple he found this time? Let's take a look. Elder Wang, who had found Gu Linglong, smiled and said, Elderly, where did you find such a little guy, wearing coarse clothes and linen? You wouldn't find him from some remote village, right? Can this little guy have good qualifications? The disciple I found is definitely better than the one you found. Haha, Elderly, you are being a bit shameless. Do you know what kind of physique the disciple I found has? He has 9 martial veins and excellent physique. He is one of the best in the entire Bayun sect. Hee, this disciple I found, let alone in the Bayun sect, even in the entire Dezhou, he is the best. Elderly smiled faintly, with great confidence. Then he took out the jade stone for testing one's physique and said to Ling Feng, Xiao Feng, don't be nervous. Go up and let everyone see your aptitude. Yes. Ling Feng nodded slightly, walked to the jade stone, and put his hand on it. Boom. The jade stone shook, and a 1,000-foot golden light shot up into the sky. Everyone in the hall was shocked by the scene before their eyes. Then they looked at Ling Feng with fiery eyes. This is the martial arts saint body. Oh my god, it's actually the martial arts saint body. How is it possible? What virtue and ability does my Bayun sect have to actually get a martial arts saint body? Martial arts saint body, the strongest qualification for practicing martial arts in the world. The number of times it has appeared in the history of the Zongqiang realm is almost counted on one's fingers. This is no longer rare. If 1,000 years is an era, it is not seen in every era. Little brother, what is your name? The leader of the Bayun sect smiled. Little brother, please worship me as your master. I am willing to teach you everything I know. Even as long as you worship me as your master, I can do my best in the future and only teach you one person. The elder said with a heavy breath. The others were also anxious. Grand Elder, don't joke. You have too many disciples. How can you teach only him? Unless you don't want other disciples. As long as I have the martial arts saint body as my disciple, it doesn't matter if the others don't want him. With time, the saint body will fully grow and will be remembered forever. No, I must let this sect master teach this disciple. Sect master, you have already accepted Gu Linglong. This time, you should give this good seedling to us. Don't fight for it. This is the martial arts saint body. How can I be indifferent? Everyone quarreled as if they were in a vegetable market. In the end, the sect master had no choice but to seem to have to use the old method. Episode 3, Apprenticeship with Lu Rusi, the unreliable master. Looking at the quarreling elders, the clan leader. Elder Wang, who brought Gu Linglong back, was dumbfounded and then looked at Elderly, who was smug at the side. Where did you find this treasure? Haha, in a village. Damn, it was actually found in a remote place. Elder Wang was a little envious and jealous. They were just outer sect elders, and it was impossible for them to accept a martial arts saint body as an apprentice, but finding a martial arts saint body was a great achievement. He found Gu Linglong, and he could get a Shangqing pill. And Elderly found a martial arts saint body, so it was not too much to give him 10. The quarreling elders and clan leaders also made a decision at this time. Use the old method, draw lots, said the White Cloud clan leader. Then he took out a lottery tube, each of which represented a true elder. In the past, when they encountered such undecided matters, they would draw lots to decide, and this time was no exception. Okay, I'll draw. The elder walked out and said. No, I'll do it. Damn, do you even have to fight for a lottery? Humph, who knows if you will do anything? You are so cold-blooded that you actually doubt your fellow disciples. For the sake of the martial arts holy body, I can be even cold-blooded. Seeing the elders who were about to quarrel again, the leader of the Bayun sect shouted coldly, "Shut up, let Ling Feng draw it himself." Everyone looked at Ling Feng in unison. Ling Feng was not afraid of the stage, and stepped forward and drew a lot. There was a name written on the lot. Piao Peak, Lu Rusi. When everyone saw this lot, their faces suddenly sank. Damn, why is it her? 8 true elders, why did you choose her? It doesn't count, let's do it again. The elder wanted to take the lottery tube and let Ling Feng draw again. But the Bayun sect master took it away and said lightly, the lottery is over. Let this child become a disciple of junior sister Lu. Sect master, no, with Lu Rusi's character, she will definitely ruin such a good seedling of the martial arts saint body. The elder refused sternly. But the Bayun sect master had made up his mind. He said to Elderly, this time you bring back the martial arts saint body, go to the Danyao Pavilion to get 10 Shangqing pills, and take Ling Feng to meet junior sister Lu. Yes, sect master. Ling Feng followed Elderly and left. On the way, Ling Feng asked curiously, Elderly, who is that elder Lu? Why do people dislike her? In Bayun sect, there are 8 true elders, and elder Lu Rusi is one of them. She has a very high level of cultivation, and it is said that she is no less than the sect master. However, she is unruly, addicted to gambling and alcohol. She even sold out some of the medicinal herbs she grew on her own mountain in exchange for silver to buy alcohol for gambling. She even caused trouble outside, which damaged the prestige of Bayun sect. Therefore, she is notorious in Bayun sect, and the most important thing is, this person is a mental patient. Elderly said slowly. Ah, mental patient? Yes, this person often says that she is the reincarnation of a heavenly immortal, born invincible in the world, and so on. She is crazy. This. Is it okay for me to worship her as my master? Well, I don't know about this. After all, Elder Lu Rusi doesn't seem to have accepted any disciples. Elderly was also a little unsure. Is it too late to change a master now? It's probably too late. It's usually hard to change what the sect master has decided. Okay. Ling Feng accepted this fact. He should make the best of it. Don't worry, host. I'm here. The system seemed to sense Ling Feng's uneasiness, and said something to comfort him. Ling Feng was relieved. After all, he was a man with a trick now. Even if his master was unreliable, he could just rely on himself. Soon, Ling Feng, led by Elderly, arrived at Piao Peak. Looking at the bare mountaintop in front of him, where not even a sparrow was found, Ling Feng's mouth twitched. Are you sure this is Piao Miao Peak? Yes. Piao Miao Peak, such a nice and high-sounding name, how can it look like this? Ling Feng still couldn't believe it. The Piao Miao Peak used to be a picturesque place, but since Elder Lu moved in, she went down the mountain and lost all her money, so she cut down some of the herbs and bamboos grown here and sold them for silver. Oh, my master is really a top-notch one. Ling Feng's mouth twitched twice. Li brought him to a wooden house and said, Outer Sect Elder Li Yun is here to meet Elder Lu. I am here to send you a disciple on the orders of the sect master. After a long while, no one responded. Is he not here? Elder Li and Ling Feng looked at each other. At this time, there was a ping-pong sound from the house, and then the door of the wooden house creaked open, and a strong smell of alcohol came out. I saw a beautiful woman with long black hair like a waterfall, half-dressed, covering her head, and staggering out. She looked drunk. The problem is, it's broad daylight now. He is drunk like this in broad daylight. What a drunkard. Elder Li muttered. What did you say? Lu Rusi heard something and glared at her. Elder Li was startled. After all, the other party was a true elder, with strength and status higher than him. He quickly said, Excuse me, this is Ling Feng, the martial arts saint, who was selected as Elder Lu's disciple. He simply told the story. Then he patted Ling Feng on the shoulder, gave him a look that wished him the best, and left immediately. Lu Rusi and Ling Feng were left in front of the wooden house, staring at each other in bewilderment. Lu Rusi looked like she hadn't sobered up yet, and looked at Ling Feng with drunken eyes and said, Disciple? I actually have a disciple too? Hee, then let's do the apprenticeship ceremony first. Ling Feng didn't hesitate, and knelt down to do the apprenticeship ceremony. Disciple Ling Feng pays homage to master. Ding, the host has successfully joined the Bayun sect and opened the road of martial arts. In order to facilitate the future travel of the world, the host is rewarded with a super storage ring. Ling Feng suddenly had a black ring on his finger. Before he could figure out how to use the storage ring, Lu Rusi in front of him suddenly fell to the ground with a plop. Master. Ling Feng hurried over to take a look. But he saw Lu Rusi snoring and had fallen asleep. This. Ling Feng held his forehead with a helpless look. Now he couldn't let master lie outside like this. Although men and women should not touch each other, this is my master, there should be no problem, master, I'm sorry. Ling Feng muttered, and then picked up Lu Rusi in a princess hug. Although he is only 14 years old now, after the transformation of the martial arts holy body, his strength has exceeded that of ordinary people, so it is not a problem to pick up Lu Rusi. Looking at Lu Rusi sleeping peacefully, Ling Feng was stunned for a moment. I have to say, although this master is unreliable, she is still very beautiful, with beautiful eyebrows, red lips, a high nose bridge, and white and delicate skin. Her long black hair is like a waterfall, soft and black. Based on this face, Ling Feng felt that he could barely accept this unreliable master. After all, who doesn't love looks? Episode 4. Cleaning, Fishing, Cooking. When Lu Rusi was brought into the room, a stronger smell of alcohol came. There were 7 or 8 wine jars rolling on the floor. Ling Feng put Lu Rusi on the couch and didn't know what to do next. He took a look at the messy wooden house. He took a deep breath, then got up and started cleaning. After all, this is where he lives. The master can be sloppy and untidy. But he can't. He put the wine jars away one by one and put them outside. Then he sorted out the clothes, the cupboards, swept the floor, mopped the floor. Ling Feng's busy figure was active around the wooden house. After a while, he wiped the sweat from his forehead. I didn't expect that this wooden house doesn't look big from the outside, but the internal space is quite large. It's not a problem for 7 or 8 people to live in it. Cleaning, Ling Feng sat aside to rest. Ding, it is detected that the host has just completed a big cleaning. Woohoo, the host has worked hard. I will reward the host with a skill map. An ancient parchment scroll suddenly appeared in Ling Feng's mind. There are various mysterious runes on the parchment scroll. Skill map? What is this? Ling Feng was a little curious. The skill map can specify a target and randomly extract a skill from the target. So powerful? Ling Feng was a little surprised, and then looked at Lu Rusi who was sleeping beside him. Although the other party looked unreliable, he was still a true elder of the Bayun sect. His strength was not bad, and he should have a lot of skills. Thinking of this, He took out the skill map and said to Lu Rusi, "Use it." Skill map in use, randomly extracting the target's skills. Congratulations to the host for drawing the clear sword heart. Ling Feng felt a strange power suddenly surged in his body. His mind became much clearer. Clear sword heart? It sounds very high-end. The clear sword heart is a powerful talent in swordsmanship. A warrior with the clear sword heart can comprehend various sword techniques in a short period of time, and be able to draw inferences about other situations through learning from one example, and even innovate, improve and integrate sword techniques. The system explained. Isn't this a kendo cheat? I didn't expect that Master had such a great skill. Ling Feng looked at Lu Rusi unexpectedly. Logically speaking, Lu Rusi, who had such a skill, had a great chance of becoming the leader of the kendo world and enjoying the admiration and worship of millions of people. But she didn't. Instead, she became a gambler and drunkard in the eyes of everyone. Why did the other party become like this? In Ling Feng's mind, Lu Rusi has been shrouded in mystery. Gurgle. At this time, Ling Feng's stomach began to growl. He was hungry. Looking at the kitchen in the wooden house again, except for some rice on the rice jar, there was nothing else, such as vegetables and meat. I can't be hungry. When I came to the mountain just now, I seemed to see a river. Let's catch a few fish and dig some wild vegetables. Ling Feng murmured. He trotted all the way to the river. The river water was clear, and he took a sip of water, which was also clear and sweet. It's really worthy of being the residence of a martial arts sect. It's really a place with outstanding people and beautiful scenery. Even the river water is so delicious. I'll use this water to cook rice later. He smiled and looked at the fish swimming in the river. He pulled up his trouser legs, rolled up his sleeves, tiptoed into the water, and then pounced on the swimming fish. With a splash, the water splashed, and Ling Feng's clothes were wet, and he didn't catch any fish. He didn't give up and continued to work hard. But after more than 10 times, he didn't catch any fish. Is my method wrong? Ling Feng touched his chin, then looked at the branches on the shore, and his eyes lit up. Got it. He trotted ashore. Then he picked up a branch that was still handy and took out a knife. This was a kitchen knife taken from the kitchen of the wooden house, in case of emergency. It just happened to be used. Use the knife to sharpen one end of the branch. A simple harpoon is ready. Holding the harpoon, Ling Feng confidently waded into the water again. He took a deep breath, his eyes became sharp, staring at the fish swimming around him, and then stabbed. Whoosh! The harpoon pierced a fish. Ling Feng's face lit up, and he took the fish off and threw it to the shore. Then he did the same thing and caught a few more fish. Ding! It was detected that the host caught fish through his own efforts. The system is very pleased with the host's self-improvement and rewards the host with master cooking skills. Ling Feng's mind suddenly emerged with a lot of cooking skills. Frying, steaming, boiling, braising, grilling. Looking at the fish on the ground, dozens of cooking methods instantly emerged in his mind. It's a pity that there don't seem to be many seasonings in the kitchen. Ling Feng muttered. Then he put away the fish and planned to pick some more wild vegetables at the foot of the mountain. After picking the wild vegetables, he was even hungrier. Ding! Detection host has finished picking wild vegetables. What a hard-working young man, reward host with a set of master-level seasonings. Ling Feng blinked, is this okay? Return to the wooden house and start cooking. After a while, there were bursts of fragrance coming from the kitchen. Lu Rusi, who was sleeping, smelled the fragrance and couldn't help but sit up. Her hair was disheveled, and she looked around in a daze. Is this still my home? Why did it suddenly become so clean? Looking at Ling Feng, who was busy not far away, Lu Rusi was even more confused. Who is this? How could there be other people in her house? Hey, master, you're awake, just in time to get up and eat. Ling Feng smiled and brought the last dish to the table. It was a dish of braised fish. The color was bright and attractive, and the aroma was fragrant. Lu Rusi couldn't help but slurp her saliva, then frowned and asked, Who are you? Why do you call me master? Why are you here with me? Ling Feng was also stunned. Why did this master suddenly turn his face and disown him? Master, I, Ling Feng, am your new disciple. Ling Feng explained the cause and effect again. After listening to Lu Rusi, some pictures emerged in her mind. It seems that she really accepted a disciple. Damn it, it's really because of drinking that I got into trouble. I was stuffed with a disciple without knowing why. Lu Rusi scratched her head in anger. She looked at Ling Feng. Let me make it clear first, I don't accept disciples. What kind of martial arts holy body is it? I am the reincarnation of an immortal, how could I be rare? Tomorrow, I will go to the sect master and ask him to take you away. You can go and worship him. Becoming the sect master's disciple. Seems not bad. But Elderly said that the sect master's decision is generally not easily changed. He was not sure whether Lu Rusi could succeed. Let's not talk about this for now, master, let's eat first. Well, did you cook all these dishes? Did you clean the house too? Lu Rusi glanced at Ling Feng curiously. Ling Feng looked around. Are there any other people here besides master and me? Pretty diligent. Lu Rusi muttered and then started to eat. She picked up a piece of fish with a chopstick and put it into her mouth. The next second, her beautiful eyes widened and she looked shocked. This. Delicious. She looked at the food in front of her with shining eyes, picking up chopsticks after chopsticks into her mouth. Ling Feng watched from the side and immediately became a little anxious. He was still hungry. He also quickly joined the army of people eating. Hey, master, I saw the fish head first. Whose was it first? Hey, kid, do you know how to respect your elders? You actually monopolized such a big fish. I have to fill my stomach first so that I can have the strength to respect you. Episode 5, Conquering the Master's Stomach, Infinite Charm. After finishing her meal, Lu Rusi lay on a chair, picking her teeth with a fish bone in her hand, and looked at Ling Feng with a hint of admiration in her eyes. My dear disciple, I didn't expect you to be such a good cook. I don't know how long it has been since I had a decent meal. When she said the latter, she showed a hint of self-mockery in her eyes. Ling Feng on the side didn't notice it, but just rolled his eyes. Just now she said she wanted to return herself. Now she calls her dear disciple? Ha! A fickle woman. Ding. It is said that to capture a person, you must capture her stomach. Congratulations to the host for winning Lu Rusi's favor through his superb cooking skills and obtaining Lu Rusi's favorability critical hit reward. Favorability critical hit? Kind of strange reward is this? Then, Ling Feng noticed that Lu Rusi's eyes were looking at him more and more kindly. He suddenly realized that this was the favorability. Good disciple. You are hardworking and can cook well. Although I don't want to accept you as a disciple, I will accept you this time with great reluctance. Thank you very much, master, for your magnanimity. Ling Feng curled his lips. You're welcome. Lu Rusi took out another book and threw it to Ling Feng, saying, Your master is a swordsman. This Xiaoyao sword art is a first-class swordsmanship in the world. You can practice it well. If you don't understand anything, come to me. After saying that, she stood up, stretched her waist, and walked down the mountain. Master, what are you going to do? Buy some wine. After Lu Rusi finished speaking, her figure leaped and turned into a stream of light. Faintly, Ling Feng seemed to see a pair of wings growing on the other party's back. The speed was many times faster than that of Elderly. Is this what Elderly said about the true qi turning into wings? Amazing. Master's cultivation is at least a martial spirit, no, a martial ancestor. Ling Feng thought to himself, and then began to look through the sword manual in his hand. Xiaoyao sword art. This is a technique for both internal and external cultivation. Internal refers to internal strength. External refers to swordsmanship. Ling Feng flipped through it for a few times, and with the blessing of the clear sword heart, he quickly comprehended the key points of this swordsmanship, and he began to practice on the spot. Without a sword, he picked up a branch from the ground. Gradually. The more he practiced, the more he got into it, and the whole person was immersed in the sword manual. As his body moved, the branch in his hand seemed to turn into a sharp sword, emitting a sharp sword intent, and leaving many afterimages in the air. This practice lasted for an entire afternoon. From day to sunset. Ling Feng was already sweating profusely, but he felt unprecedentedly happy. A stream of true energy was even generated in his body. Successfully entered the first realm of martial arts, the acquired realm. Ding. It was detected that the host successfully advanced to the acquired realm. This is the first step in the host's martial arts journey, but it is a big step for the 10,000 worlds. Because the future super invincible God King has begun to rise. To commemorate this moment, the host is specially rewarded with a talent lottery. The voice of the system sounded, and the other party seemed to be a little excited. Hearing its words, Ling Feng couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. What first step, a big step, the future super invincible God King. How could he be so powerful? Although this system praises people well, it is too exaggerated. But then he was attracted by the reward. A lottery, sounds interesting. System, use your talent to draw a lottery. Okay, Ling Feng only saw a huge turntable appear in front of him. There were small grids on the turntable, and there were various talents in them. 10 times the strength, 10 times the speed, become stronger by breathing, telepathy, become stronger by sunbathing, eye of exploration, primary self-healing, advanced self-healing, gaze at someone and they'll get pregnant. Ling Feng was dazzled by all the talents. Some of the talents seemed quite normal, but some of them made Ling Feng's mouth twitch unconsciously. Get stronger by breathing? Get stronger by sunbathing? And that thing about getting pregnant by glaring at someone. What the hell is going on with? Is it possible to have such an outrageous talent? Start the lottery. The turntable started to spin quickly, crossing 10 times the strength, 10 times the talent, getting stronger by breathing, and elementary self-healing. Ling Feng stared at the turntable. The talent he wanted most was the advanced self-healing. This was a life-saving skill. With this ability, he wouldn't be afraid of getting hurt in the future. But unfortunately, the turntable passed the advanced self-healing and finally stopped at a small grid next to gaze at someone and they'll get pregnant. Ling Feng wiped a cold sweat. If he really drew this funny talent, he would have to live with his eyes closed in the future. Ding! Congratulations to the host for drawing the talent, Unlimited Charm. Unlimited Charm can enhance the host's charm, and as the age increases, the host's charm can also be continuously improved, and it can even reach the point where it can conquer powerful enemies on all sides with its own charm, making people unable to help but follow. What a powerful ability. Ling Feng's eyes lit up. He ran into the wooden house and looked at a mirror. His facial features did not change much, and he was still so handsome. But there was an inexplicable charm between his eyebrows. This kind of charm cannot be created even with 999 layers of beauty filters. Handsome, really handsome. You are worthy of being the host. The system gave encouragement at the right time. This system. He likes it. Ling Feng smiled slightly, then left the wooden house, picked up the branches on the ground, and continued to practice swordsmanship, with sword shadows flying everywhere, unrestrained and unrestrained. Unconsciously, Lu Rusi had returned. Looking at Ling Feng practicing sword in the sunset, she could not help but nod secretly, not bad. But then, she discovered something and gradually opened her mouth. Postnatal realm? This is the beginning of martial arts? It's only been one afternoon, and this Xiaoyao sword technique. He is so proficient, a genius. Lu Rusi is sure that ordinary martial artists need at least 7 or 8 years to practice Xiaoyao sword technique to reach Ling Feng's current level. But now, the other party has reached such a realm in one afternoon. He has also entered the postnatal realm. Even if it is a martial arts saint body, it's a bit too exaggerated. This is almost catching up with me, the reincarnation of an immortal. Lu Rusi muttered. At this time, Ling Feng stopped and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Seeing Lu Rusi coming back, his eyes lit up and he ran up. Looking at Ling Feng who was gradually approaching, looking at the other party's slightly immature and beautiful face, Lu Rusi couldn't help but stare at him. After not seeing him for an afternoon, he seemed to have changed. Did his appearance increase by more than 10 points? No. Nothing has changed. Master, you are back. Well, I also bought some vegetables, you go cook. Lu Rusi waved her sleeves and took out a few baskets of fish, meat and vegetables from the storage ring. Thinking of the lunch today, she couldn't help but look forward to it. It happened that Ling Feng had practiced all afternoon and was a little hungry. She took the basket and went to the kitchen to work. Looking at his figure, Lu Rusi felt that she didn't accept an apprentice, but a virtuous child husband. Pa! Lu Rusi slapped herself and said angrily, Lu Rusi, what are you thinking about? He is still a child. But looking at the busy figure of the other party in the kitchen, Lu Rusi couldn't help but smile softly. This Pyamya Peak, which has always been deserted and lonely, now has the atmosphere of fireworks. This feeling is not bad. Episode 6, Drinking 1,000 Cups Without Getting Drunk, Defending the Master. Soon. Ling Feng cooked a table of delicious dishes with the dishes that Lu Rusi bought. Lu Rusi picked up a piece of food and put it into her mouth to chew, then quickly took a few more bites, her eyebrows curved, her face full of joy, delicious, delicious. If Ling Feng could see the favorability, then Lu Rusi's head should be now Favorability +1, favorability +1, favorability +2. While eating, Lu Rusi took out a wine jar and ate the dishes while drinking. Ling Feng looked at the wine jar with some curiosity. He has not drunk the wine in this world yet. Want to drink? Lu Rusi smiled slightly. Ling Feng hesitated for a moment, then nodded, I want to. Ha, you little guy, you haven't even grown all your hair yet, but you want to learn how to drink. Well, it's not impossible, but you can only drink a small sip. Lu Rusi poured Ling Feng a small bowl. Ling Feng took it and blushed. This bowl seems to be the one that Master used just now. Does it count as an indirect kiss if he uses it again? Looking at the light lip print on the edge of the bowl, he changed his position and took a small sip. It was not as spicy as he imagined, on the contrary, it had a strong fruity aroma. It was more like some fruit wine he often drank in his previous life. Ding, it is detected that the host is brave enough to try. The first time drinking, the host is rewarded with 1,000 cups without getting drunk. When it comes to drinking, I would like to respect the host as the strongest. 1,000 cups without getting drunk. Ling Feng looked at the wine jar in Lu Rusi's hand, his eyes were a little fiery. Oh, you are a natural wine lover. Lu Rusi chuckled and poured Ling Feng another full bowl. This time Ling Feng was not polite. He gulped down the wine in a few gulps. Then he looked at Lu Rusi, with 2 words written all over his face. Pour the wine. Lu Rusi raised her eyebrows. Although the Baigua brew of Tiangquan Villa is not considered a strong liquor, this little guy drank a big bowl of it for the first time, and he didn't blush or feel nervous. Could it be that he is really a natural alcoholic? She felt that Ling Feng was becoming more and more to her taste. Okay. Let's drink to our heart's content today. Lu Rusi took out another jar of wine. She and Ling Feng each had a jar. The 2 of them ate and drank. After the dishes were finished, they drank there. Lu Rusi drank more and more vigorously. Looking at Ling Feng opposite, she had a spirit of not admitting defeat. I have been in the wine world for more than 10 years. If I can't drink more than a little kid who has just touched wine, wouldn't it be a joke if it gets out? 1 jar, 2 jars, 3 jars. Soon. The table was filled with 5 or 6 jars of wine. Junior sister Lu, how are you getting along with your apprentice? At this time, the White Cloud sect master brought people to check on Ling Feng's situation. The door opened. They saw 2 people competing in drinking. Ling Feng was holding a wine jar that was bigger than his head and drinking. Seeing this scene, several people were stunned at first. The Bayun sect master immediately became furious. Nonsense. Lu Rusi also noticed the arrival of several people, put the wine jar on the table, and ignored the anger of the Bayun sect master at all, and smiled. Hey, it's several senior brothers and sisters, you came just in time, do you want to drink together? Lu Rusi. Be serious. The Bayun sect master suppressed his anger and said, Ling Feng is still a child. How can you bring a child here to compete in drinking? It's so nonsense. What if something goes wrong after drinking? Isn't he a martial arts saint? How can it be so easy for him to have problems after drinking? No matter what, your behavior is not at all like a teacher. How can I trust Ling Feng to you like this? Then take it back. Anyway, you stuffed it in anyway. Lu Rusi shrugged. She looked like a dead pig that was not afraid of boiling water. Master. I told you that if Lu Rusi were to teach this kid, there would definitely be problems. We can't let Ling Feng fall with her. Yes, leave Ling Feng to me. I will definitely teach him well. Leave it to me, let me do it, I will definitely teach you everything I know. The elders were vying to be Ling Feng's master again. Lu Rusi looked on and curled her lips. Although she didn't show anything on her face, she felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. You guys are worthy of being the master of the martial arts holy body? She couldn't help but sneer. The elders glared at her fiercely when they heard this. No matter what, it's better than you taking Ling Feng to drink. Ling Feng, how are you? Are you okay? Are you dizzy? At this time, an elder walked up to Ling Feng and asked with concern. Ling Feng had the talent to drink 1,000 cups without getting drunk. Except for his face looking a little red, he was fine and his mind was clear. He bowed and said, Master, the elders have misunderstood Master. Master didn't lead me to drink. I was curious and wanted to drink. Alas, what a good child. Even at this point, he is still defending his master and protecting Master's reputation. Yes, Lu Rusi, look at you, and then look at Ling Feng. Don't you have any shame in your heart? Everyone didn't believe Ling Feng's words. On the contrary, they felt more distressed that this child was too sensible. He must have suffered a lot since childhood to be so precocious and understand such worldly affairs. TSK. Lu Rusi rolled her eyes and had no interest in explaining. Everyone, I'm telling the truth. It's not Master's fault. I wanted to drink. Besides, Master is also very dedicated to me. She also taught me a set of swordsmanship today. I can demonstrate it to you. Ling Feng said hurriedly. Everyone looked at each other. Could it be true? What swordsmanship did junior sister Lu teach you? Xiaoyao sword technique. Ling Feng said, then walked outside and picked up a branch to practice. Under the moonlight, Ling Feng held the branch like a sword and wielded it freely. Suddenly, sword shadows appeared one after another, like a banished immortal under the moon, which made people intoxicated. Wow! It's only been one day, and he has made such progress? This Xiaoyao sword art is a first-class martial arts. Ordinary people can never reach this level without 7 or 8 years of practice. Even if it is a martial arts saint body, it's a bit exaggerated. It seems that junior sister Lu really tried her best to guide Ling Feng, and with Ling Feng's own talent, he made such progress in one day. Thinking of this, everyone's anger towards Lu Rusi also subsided a lot. Lu Rusi on the side blushed a little. It's true that she gave this Xiaoyao sword art. But she just threw a book of sword art to the other party, and didn't teach him at all. The other party can practice to this level, all by himself. Lu Rusi, considering your dedication to teaching Ling Feng, I won't bother with you this time, but Ling Feng is still a child after all, and he is still growing up. Drink less alcohol, okay? Bayun sect master said in a gentle tone. I know. Lu Rusi said with a gloomy look. The Bayun sect master and his men ignored her and left after giving Ling Feng a few words. Only Lu Rusi and Ling Feng were left at Piumiao Peak. In fact, if you change your master, it might be better. They are right. I am a drunkard and gambler. I may not be able to teach you well. Lu Rusi said with a self-deprecating voice. I believe in Master. I don't even believe in myself, why should you believe in me? Ling Feng frowned, thought for a while, and said, Master has an advantage that the sect master and the elders can't compare to. Oh, what advantage? Master is extremely beautiful. I feel comfortable looking at her. This makes me feel happy, and I can get twice the result with half the effort when practicing martial arts. Ling Feng said seriously. Hearing this, Lu Rusi was stunned for a moment, then her face turned red. You are such a sly guy, you are so young, but you have already learned to be smooth-talking. It's not smooth-talking, it's all from the heart. You really are. Lu Rusi hugged Ling Feng and rubbed him in her arms. So cute, my good disciple, how can you be so cute? Master, let go quickly, I can't breathe. Ling Feng's face was stuffed into a pair of mountains, and the milky smell mixed with alcohol and a suffocating feeling came to his face, making it difficult for him to breathe. Evil, too evil. Episode 7, Breakthrough, The Art of Exploration. Ling Feng has been staying at Piumiao Peak for more than 10 days. During these days, Lu Rusi occasionally taught him some sword techniques, but without exception, he learned them all easily. This made Lu Rusi sure that the other party not only possessed a martial arts holy body, but also had a rare sword heart like herself. Only in this way can one master various sword techniques so easily. Looking at Ling Feng who was practicing sword under the tree, Lu Rusi couldn't help but admire, martial arts holy body, clear sword heart, Xiao Feng's qualifications are really unparalleled in the world. She couldn't help but feel a little proud. Such a great genius is her apprentice. Sun was high in the sky. Ling Feng stopped practicing sword and was about to cook. Now he has to take care of the meals at Piumiao Peak. Although, there are only 2 people in Piumiao Peak. Lu Rusi can't cook, Ling Feng doesn't want to starve to death, so he has to do it. Fortunately, although Lu Rusi can't cook, she can eat for free, and every time she eats for free, she will buy a bunch of vegetables first, otherwise Ling Feng really can't find many ingredients to use in this remote mountain of Piumiao Peak. You can't eat fish every day. After eating. After washing the dishes. Night. Lu Rusi said while picking her teeth, Xiaofeng, you have a good talent. Next, I plan to teach you the real martial arts of Piumiao Peak. Ah, so what I practice these days is fake. Ling Feng blinked. That's not the case. The swordsmanship you practiced is indeed first-class swordsmanship in the great Zhou Jianghu, but it is not the real inheritance of Piao Peak. Lu Rusi took out a book and handed it to Ling Feng. Ling Feng took it and found that the ink marks on it were not completely dry. Master, you didn't copy this secret book overnight, did you? Ahem. What nonsense are you talking about? Lu Rusi blushed and patted Ling Feng on the head, then said with a serious look, this technique is extremely powerful. You must practice well. Got it. Ling Feng looked at the book in his hand, on which were written 6 big characters. Piao Wushwang Sword Classic. The handwriting was crooked. It seems that my master's calligraphy is not very good. That night, Ling Feng began to practice in his room. Piao Wushwang Sword Classic. This technique is divided into 2 parts. The first part is the inner strength method for practicing true qi. The second part is the sword technique. However, when Ling Feng turned to the sword technique, there was only 1 line of words on it. Piao Wushwang, do whatever you want, pay attention to the 10,000 swords not leaving the same origin. 10,000 swords are all for my use, so Piao Sword Classic, there is no sword technique of its own. Other people's sword techniques are our sword techniques. Ling Feng blinked. Can it be like this? He didn't think much and began to practice Piao Sword Classic. With his martial arts saint body and the talent of clear sword heart, it was not difficult to practice this sword classic. The spiritual energy around him quickly gathered towards him. One by one, spiritual energy was refined into Piao true qi by him. Most of the night passed. Ling Feng's true qi in his body has reached a bottleneck. It's only 1 step away from the innate. System, is there any way to speed up the practice? Ling Feng was a little dissatisfied. After practicing for more than 10 days, why haven't I broken through the innate? He advanced to the postnatal realm in 1 day. He thought he would be able to advance to the innate realm in just a few days. It seems that the road of martial arts is not so easy even with a holy body. Yes, doesn't the host have 1,000 top-grade spirit stones? Using spirit stones can speed up the practice. The host can give it a try. Ling Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. Yes. I almost forgot about this. He took out a spirit stone from the storage ring. This spirit stone was the size of a palm, like a golden gem, and contained a strong spiritual energy. He immediately put it in the palm of his hand and practiced the exercises. The spiritual energy in the spirit stone quickly rushed into his body. With a click, it seemed that some bottleneck in his body was broken. Ling Feng broke through the innate in 1 fell swoop. Until daytime, the spiritual energy of the spirit stone in Ling Feng's hand had been absorbed. The golden spirit stone turned into a white stone, which looked like the stones that can be seen everywhere on the roadside. This spirit stone is really useful. Ling Feng waved his fist. He felt that his power was much stronger. Ding, it is detected that the host has successfully broken through to the innate realm, and the host is rewarded with a talent lottery. Another talent lottery. Ling Feng's eyes lit up. Use the talent lottery. The previous turntable appeared in front of him again, with a variety of 20 to 30 kinds of talents on it, some of which were the same as last time. For example, whoever you stare at will get pregnant. Ling Feng's mouth twitched. I hope I don't draw it. With a thought, the turntable began to turn. After a while, the pointer stopped at a small black grid. This grid occupied the smallest proportion on the turntable, which should be the most precious talent in this turntable. Congratulations to the host for successfully extracting the talent, the art of detection. Suddenly, a lot of information about the art of detection emerged in Ling Feng's mind. The art of detection. As the name suggests, it is a talent used to detect information. As for how much information can be detected, it depends on Ling Feng's own cultivation. It seems pretty good. Ling Feng's mind moved, and he looked at the table in front of him, and the art of detection was performed. A line of information suddenly appeared in front of him. An ordinary table. I can see it without the art of detection. Look at the stone in his hand again. A top-grade spiritual stone with exhausted spiritual energy. Ling Feng saw the room, and the art of detection remained in the state of being performed. A weathered wooden door, a wildly growing grass, a bowl with a chip, a grasshopper that was just 3 days old, a wine jar that once contained 100 fruits. Various information appeared in front of him. Ling Feng found it quite interesting. Everything in the world seemed to have no secrets in front of him. This detection technique is amazing. Xiao Feng, what do you want to eat for breakfast today? At this time, A yawning sound came. It was Lu Rusi who got up. Ling Feng looked over. The true energy in his body was rapidly consumed. At the same time, Lu Rusi's information also appeared in front of him. Lu Rusi, the true elder of the Bayun sect, the first sword cultivator of the Great Zhou, the reincarnation of a heavenly immortal, cultivation? Gongfa? People? Some information could not be detected for the time being because of Ling Feng's cultivation problem, but just the information that had been detected made Ling Feng dumbfounded. He thought that his master had some skills. But he didn't expect that the skills were so great. The first sword cultivator of the Great Zhou? In the Zongqi realm, there are 7 dynasties. Dezhou is one of them. Dezhou is vast. Although it is one of the many sects of Bayun sect, it is not the best in Dezhou. At most, it is in the top 10 of Dezhou. But my master is the best in Dezhou? Wow. It's outrageous. Also, what is the reincarnation of the immortals in the sky? There are really immortals? My master is not a lunatic as others say. But why would such an awesome master degenerate and become a drunkard and gambler in the eyes of others? Lu Rusi became more and more mysterious in Ling Feng's eyes. And Lu Rusi also discovered something. Seeing Ling Feng's eyes light up, she stepped forward and grabbed his wrist, then smiled happily. Oh, it's good, you have broken through the innate, good, you are worthy of being my disciple. Let's go, I won't cook today, your master will take you to have a good meal. Episode 8, Tiangquan Villa, better than cooking. Come on, let me take you to a good meal. Lu Rusi laughed. Then she grabbed Ling Feng and jumped up. Ling Feng felt that the scenery on both sides was quickly retreating to the back. In just a few blinks, he and Lu Rusi had already arrived at the foot of the mountain. This speed was many times faster than that of elderly. The two went down the mountain and came to a nearby city. The city is called Yanqing. Is one of the important cities in the Great Zhou dynasty, and trade is endless. On both sides of the street, there are a large number of shops and restaurants, many of which sell various weapons, armor and the like. The martial arts culture of the Great Zhou dynasty is very popular, and the control of weapons is not strict. On the street, many people wear swords and knives. There are even some people wearing armor and walking through them. Ling Feng was in such a big city for the first time. He looked around and saw everything new, just like Granny Lu entering the Grand View Garden. Seeing this, Lu Rusi smiled slightly and slowed down her pace to give Ling Feng enough time to catch up. After half an hour, the two came to a restaurant. There was a golden plaque hanging on the restaurant, on which were written 4 big characters in a flamboyant style. Tiangquan Villa. Ling Feng was a little curious. Master, this is obviously a restaurant. Why is it called Tiangquan Villa? Tiangquan Villa is a well-known force in the world of the Great Zhou. They specialize in various businesses, such as restaurants, weapons, tea, cloth, etc., and all these industries are collectively called Tiangquan Villa. I see. Lu Rusi led him in and found a seat by the window. The people here seemed to be familiar with her and immediately came to greet her. Elder Lu, how much wine do you want to buy today? Let's not buy wine today, let's eat. What delicious food do you have? Put it all up for me. Lu Rusi said generously. Eh? The waiter was stunned for a moment. In the past, Lu Rusi only bought wine and never ate here. Why did she change her mind today? Looking at Ling Feng next to him, could it be because of this guy? He didn't ask any more questions and immediately asked someone to serve the dishes. The dishes were served very quickly. Soon, the table was filled with a dazzling array of dishes. 8 treasure duck, 4 happiness meatballs, steamed sea bass, braised lion's head, braised chicken with dried bamboo shoots, stir-fried meat with garlic sprouts, 9 turn large intestine, fried chicken cubes with sauce. Ling Feng was dazzled. Master, it's too much. As a warrior of my generation, I must have a big appetite. Eat as much as you can. Gurgle. Ling Feng's stomach was just hungry. He was no longer reserved, picked up the chopsticks and started eating. Looking at him wolfing down, Lu Rusi smiled dotingly, and then started eating, but after eating 2 bites, her brows frowned. This is not as delicious as what my apprentice made. She muttered. The waiter who came to serve the dishes happened to hear this and was a little unhappy, but he didn't get angry, but he couldn't help complaining after returning to the kitchen. This elder Lu can only brag. What good food can a gambler have eaten? The best chef in the Great Zhou dynasty that I hired in Tiangquan Villa, her apprentice is nothing. How dare she say that she cooks better than our chef? Who Who said that the food is better than mine? At this time, the chef who was cooking was unhappy. He rushed up, grabbed the waiter's collar, and said ferociously, "You just said that someone belittled my cooking skills? Who was it?" "Zhang, Chef Zhang, it's Lu Rusi from Bayun sect. She said that the dishes cooked by her apprentice are better than yours." The waiter said. "Okay, I'd like to go and see what kind of stuff her apprentice is." Chef Zhang snorted coldly. He has been cooking for more than 20 years, and even worked as a royal chef in the palace. Anyone who eats his dishes will give him a thumbs up. No one has ever dared to say that his cooking skills are not as good as anyone else's. Today he wants to see for himself. In the restaurant, Ling Feng was wolfing down his food. After he was promoted to Xiantian, he found that his appetite had indeed increased a lot. He ate most of the dozen dishes on the table, but Lu Rusi, who used to compete with him for food at the table, didn't eat much today. She looked uninterested. Ling Feng asked curiously, "Master, do you have a bad appetite?" "No." Lu Rusi shook her head and said, "Xiaofeng, from now on we should buy vegetables and cook them ourselves when we return to Piaomiao Peak." "Master, you are the one who said you would eat it, and you are the one who said you would cook it when you return. Are you so fickle?" Ling Feng said helplessly. "Oh, there is nothing I can do. My mouth has been spoiled by someone." Rusi smiled. There is no harm without comparison. She never expected that her apprentice's cooking skills were so amazing that even the chef of Tianquan Villa couldn't compare to hers. "Tell me, who among you is Lu Rusi?" At this time, a loud voice sounded, and everyone looked over and saw Chef Zhang, who had a big belly and a frying pan in his hand, walking out of the kitchen. Ling Feng, Lu Rusi was stunned for a moment. Who is this? When everyone heard Lu Rusi's name, they all looked at her. Chef Zhang immediately noticed her and rushed over. Although she was extremely beautiful, he couldn't help but get angry when he thought of her belittling his cooking skills. "You belittled my cooking." "I didn't. You said that my cooking is not as good as your apprentice's, right?" Oh, it seems that I did say that." Lu Rusi tilted her head and thought for a while. She did mutter something just now, but she didn't expect that someone would hear it. But she dared to take responsibility and didn't deny it. Okay, isn't this still belittling? Is this called derogation? I'm just telling the truth. Okay, let your apprentice come out and compete with me. I, Zhang, have been cooking for so many years, and I haven't met an opponent yet. My dear apprentice, this person wants to compete with you in cooking, why don't you try?" Lu Rusi smiled at Ling Feng. Everyone looked at him and was stunned. Chef Zhang's face turned even livid. Is this person her apprentice? What a joke. What kind of cooking skills can a little brat have? Has he ever been in the kitchen? Humph, Chef Zhang is the chef of Tianquan Villa. He has hosted banquets for countless dignitaries in his life. He actually said that his cooking skills are not as good as such a little brat. Lu Rusi is really insulting. Everyone was a little indignant for Chef Zhang. Chef Zhang's face was also livid. Okay, Lu Rusi, you dare to insult me like this? Where did I insult you? Are you crazy? Lu Rusi looked at Chef Zhang like a fool. Is it wrong to tell the truth? Master, why don't we just forget it and go back first? You are not allowed to leave. If I don't give you an explanation today, neither of you can leave. Chef Zhang said angrily. A cold light flashed in Lu Rusi's eyes. Okay, no one in the Great Zhou can keep me. I will tear down this Tianquan Villa. She is not someone to be trifled with. She doesn't care if others call her a drunkard or a gambler. But it's just talk. But if you really dare to provoke her, she won't give face to the emperor. Wait, master, calm down. Ling Feng hurriedly went up to appease Lu Rusi, and then said to Chef Zhang, how about this, I will compete with you, but how do we compete? Simple, you and I will each make 3 dishes, and see who cooks the best. Episode 9. Who did you learn cooking from? Eating a free meal? Chef Zhang wants to compete with others in cooking? This spread in Tianquan Villa restaurant. When everyone saw that the person who was going to compete with him was just a 13 or 14-year-old boy, they couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. Then they laughed, as if they were watching a show. This kid wants to compete with Chef Zhang in cooking? I'm dying of laughter. Haha, I'm afraid he has never even been in the kitchen. Don't laugh, it's great for such a young child to be able to cook. He is nothing like my child who just messes around all day. Under the attention of everyone, Ling Feng and Chef Zhang came to the kitchen. In order to prevent cheating or being influenced, the other chefs had already left. At this time, only Chef Zhang and Ling Feng were left in the kitchen. Boy, don't say I'm bullying you. Tell me your 3 best dishes. I'm good at a lot of dishes. Ling Feng smiled and looked at the kitchen. He found that there were a lot of ingredients here. Almost all the creatures that swam in the water, ran on the ground, and flew in the sky were available. It was worthy of being the restaurant of Tianquan Villa. So, how about we compete in fried clams, 8 treasure duck, and fried shrimp? Chef Zhang said lightly. No problem. Ling Feng nodded. Chef Zhang looked at him suspiciously. Can this kid really cook? The two began to prepare the ingredients. When watching Ling Feng's clean and neat bone-removing technique when handling the duck, Chef Zhang's pupils shrank slightly. Good knife skills, good technique. This kid has real kung fu in hand. He also started. While doing it, he kept an eye on Ling Feng on the opposite side. The more he looked at it, the more solemn it became. Whether it was the knife skills or the control of the heat, the other party had reached an extremely high level. Even though he had been a royal chef, he didn't dare to say that he was better than the other party. This is a strong opponent. Chef Zhang took a deep breath and went all out. Outside the kitchen, a group of chefs gathered together. Smelling the aroma coming out, they talked about it. This delicious smell is fried clams. There are also shrimps and ducks. It should be fried shrimp and 8 treasure duck. TSK, can this kid really cook? Soon. The door opened. The chefs gathered in and saw only 2 plates, each with 3 dishes on it. From the color and appearance, there was no difference. Fragrant, really fragrant. Let's not talk about the taste, but the color and fragrance are almost perfect. Who made these? Looking at the 2 trays in front of them, the chefs couldn't tell who made them. They looked at Ling Feng in surprise. They didn't expect that a young boy could make dishes that were on par with Chef Zhang. Bring the dishes out and let the guests taste them. Chef Zhang said lightly. But when he looked at Ling Feng, there was already a hint of amazement in his eyes. The dishes were brought out. Guests are invited to taste for free. After everyone finished eating, they all praised it. Good, so delicious. The shrimps are coated with just the right amount of batter, retaining the sweetness and tenderness of the shrimps. Both the texture and the taste are impeccable. This dish is a little worse, but it's also of a very high standard. This should be made by that young man. It's really impressive to be able to do this. Which dish are you going to vote for? It must be dish number 1. Although dish number 2 is not bad either, the 3 dishes on dish number 1 are obviously better. This is the first time I've eaten such good dishes. It's even better than what I had in Tianquan Villa before. Haha, it seems that Chef Zhang is usually reserved. Everyone talked about it and then started to vote. Almost without exception, everyone voted for dish number 1. Chef Zhang, Ling Feng walked out, and looking at the voting results, Chef Zhang's face changed in an instant, and then he stepped forward to dish number 1, picked up the chopsticks and took a few bites himself. After eating, his expression changed. Surprisingly, it's actually better than what I cooked. Boy, who did you learn cooking from? Chef Zhang looked at Ling Feng with a complicated expression. Everyone was stunned for a moment when they heard this, and then took a breath. No way. This dish was made by this boy? Oh my god. This boy is better at cooking than Chef Zhang. I learned it all by myself. Chef Zhang, please forgive me. Ling Feng smiled slightly. Ding, congratulations to the host for surpassing Chef Zhang in cooking, becoming famous in the culinary world, and receiving the reward. God's tongue. God's tongue. What's the use of this thing? The divine tongue is a skill that countless chefs dream of. Those who possess the divine tongue can easily distinguish the ingredients used in each dish, analyze the cooking techniques, and even improve them. It sounds amazing. In this way, even if I don't practice anymore, I can still be a chef and shine. Ling Feng thought to himself. Good disciple, well done. Lu Rusi laughed loudly, looking very proud. She walked up to Ling Feng, rubbed his head, and then looked at Chef Zhang and the shopkeeper. Can we go now? Wait a minute, this little brother is a great cook, which is admirable. I wonder if he is willing to work at my Tianquan Villa? I am willing to pay 100 taels a month. The shopkeeper walked up to Ling Feng and smiled. Lu Rusi was immediately dissatisfied. Good guy, he actually dared to poach people. Let my disciple be a chef for your Tianquan Villa? Are you qualified? Indeed. Let a martial arts saint be a chef. I guess no force would do this. Unless they are crazy. Although the shopkeeper didn't know about the martial arts holy body, he also knew that being a warrior was indeed more promising than being a cook, and he couldn't help but sigh with regret. What a pity, little brother. I hope you remember that the door of the kitchen of Tianquan Villa is always open to you. Thank you for your kindness, shopkeeper. Okay, you two can leave after paying for your meal. Humph, you make me sound like I'm a freeloader. Lu Rusi curled her lips, took out the money bag and threw it to the shopkeeper. No need to change. The shopkeeper took it. Hey, the weight is wrong. He opened it and took a look. Wow. Good guy, there are only 2 copper coins in it. His face turned black. No need to change? These 2 copper coins are not even enough to eat a plate of peanuts. Is Elder Lu making fun of me? The shopkeeper took the 2 copper coins and his mouth twitched. How is it possible? How come there is only so little left? Oh, I remember that when I went to the dashing casino the day before yesterday, I seemed to have lost a lot, and then I used the remaining money to buy wine. This is miserable. How can I live in the next few days? Lu Rusi had a bitter face. The shopkeeper's face turned black. Humph, I don't care how you live in the next few days, but if you can't take out the meal money today, just stay and wash the dishes. Shopkeeper, please be flexible and let me go back first. I will definitely pay the meal money in a few days. Lu Rusi said with a grin. But the shopkeeper didn't believe her at all. After all, how can a drunkard and gambler have any credibility? Ling Feng watched his master bargaining on the side, and couldn't help but hold his forehead. He had a new understanding of Lu Rusi's unreliability. When he thought that he might have to stay and wash dishes with his master, he couldn't help but sigh, why do I have such a master? Host, this is your own choice. Ahem, Xiaofeng, I'll count to 1, 2, 3 later, you hold on to me, I'll take you out. Lu Rusi leaned in front of Ling Feng and whispered. Ah, master, we are going to eat a free meal. Eat it, I am the elder of the Bayun sect, and I am staying to wash dishes? Or with my own apprentice, this is too outrageous if it gets out. Master, I think this free meal may be even more outrageous. Ling Feng's mouth twitched. Suddenly, he thought of something and asked, Master, can the spirit stone be used to pay the bill? Episode 10, Turn over a new leaf and start a new life. Spirit stones? I can use them to pay off my debts, but I am short of money, not even silver, let alone spirit stones. Lu Rusi said helplessly. Spirit stones, I have them. Ling Feng took out a fist-sized piece of top-grade spirit stones from his storage ring. Lu Rusi was stunned. Top-grade spirit stones? Storage ring? My dear disciple, where did you get these things? When I was in the village, I often helped the villagers chop firewood in the mountains. I picked up this ring in the mountains, and the spirit stones are also in this ring. Ling Feng lied casually. Hiss. My dear disciple, you are so lucky. Lu Rusi took the top-grade spirit stone and threw it to the shopkeeper. This top-grade spirit stone is enough to buy you 10 tables of delicious food. Give me another 100 jars of 100-fruit wine. Okay. The shopkeeper smiled happily. 1 top-grade spirit stone is equivalent to 10,000 taels of silver. Calculated, he made a fortune. Ling Feng was a little surprised. He didn't expect that a top-grade spirit stone would have such a great purchasing power. Unknowingly, he became a rich man. Ding. The host helped the master to get out of trouble and avoided the result of washing dishes by himself. The host is rewarded with 100 top-grade spirit stones. Ling Feng blinked. Is this okay? This system reward is too casual. Ling Feng shook his head. It feels like his life has turned on the easy mode. Everything is easy. Then, enjoy it. Ling Feng decided to enjoy every day of the present. Soon, the shopkeeper prepared 100 jars of 100-fruit wine, and Lu Rusi waved her hand and put all of them into the storage ring. Then she took Ling Feng away. On the way back to Bayun sect, Lu Rusi stopped in front of a gambling house and took a few glances. Ling Feng asked curiously, Master, do you want to go in and gamble? Ahem, my hands are a little itchy. Can I gamble even if I don't have money? If you don't have money, you can borrow it. Gambling houses love to lend people money the most. Oh, then I'll wait for Master here. Ling Feng didn't dissuade him, and walked to a tea house and sat down obediently. Lu Rusi glanced at him, walked a few steps towards the gambling house, but suddenly turned back. took Ling Feng's hand and was about to leave. Master, don't you want to gamble anymore? Gamble for nothing. I don't know how much money this rubbish gambling house has won from me. It must be cheating. From today on, I will quit gambling. Lu Rusi said seriously. She glanced at Ling Feng and thought to herself, I can't fall like this anymore. Ling Feng's practice in the future will definitely require various resources. If I keep losing all my money, how can I buy resources for Ling Feng? I can't let my good disciples starve with me, can I? Lu Rusi, you have to cheer up. Thinking of this, Lu Rusi's expression became more determined. She waved her fist and said, from today on, I will turn over a new leaf. Be a new person. Hearing her say this, Ling Feng smiled with relief. Although he didn't know why Lu Rusi, the number one swordsman in the Great Zhou dynasty, had fallen to this point, he didn't want to see her continue to sink. Well, I believe that master can do it. The next day. The sun had just risen. Ling Feng looked at Lu Rusi, who was drunk and lying on the ground in half-dressed clothes early in the morning, and his mouth twitched. What about the promise of turning over a new leaf? What about the promise of making a new life? I believed in you. Ling Feng had no choice but to pick up the wine jar on the ground, then go out, pick up a branch, and start a day of practice. From the simplest Liangyi swordsmanship to the profound Liuhe sword tactics. These days, he can use all the swordsmanship taught by Lu Rusi at will, like flowing clouds and water, in one go. After practicing for an hour. Bang! It was as if some shackles in his body were broken. The true energy surged. The second level of innate. Ling Feng was quite satisfied. With the top-grade spirit stones he had on him, it would not take long for him to break through to the martial arts master realm. That is, Elder Li's realm. Soon. The sun was high in the sky. Ling Feng was preparing to cook. Lu Rusi had sobered up and washed herself. After finishing her meal, she said, My dear disciple, you don't have to cook for me tonight. I'm going to go out for a few days. During this time, you should stay in Piaomiao Peak and don't run around. Practice well and wait for me to buy you a gift. Ling Feng was stunned for a moment. What is the master going to do? Keep it secret for now. Master, you're not going to gamble again, are you? Ling Feng asked suspiciously. How is that possible? Master has said that he wants to turn over a new leaf. But you got drunk again early in the morning. Well, this is an exception. After all, I brought back so much wine from Tiangquan Villa yesterday. It would be a waste if I didn't drink it. Besides, drinking and gambling are two different things. Gambling can be stopped, but drinking is impossible. Lu Rusi said. Master, why do you have to drink? If I don't drink, I can't sleep. Lu Rusi's eyes revealed a trace of melancholy. Something is going on. Ling Feng's eyes flashed, but he didn't ask any more. He believed that if Lu Rusi wanted to tell him, she would tell him. Now that he and the other party have not been together for a long time, there is no need to rush to know everything. Oh, then master, please be safe when you go out this time, come back early, and I will take care of Piaomiao Peak. Ling Feng said. Good disciple, so good. Come, let the master kiss you. Lu Rusi's shiny little mouth moved towards Ling Feng's cheek. But was blocked by Ling Feng. Oh, no, it smells like garlic. It's because the garlic shrimp you cooked is so delicious. Soon. Lu Rusi was ready to leave. She didn't pack anything, just holding a sword. My dear disciple, I'm leaving. She seemed to have opened a pair of invisible wings. The wings fluttered, and a wave of air was raised on the spot. She soared into the sky and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Ling Feng looked at her with some envy. The true qi turns into wings and flies in the air. I wonder when I can reach this level. After Lu Rusi left. Only Ling Feng was left at Piaomiao Peak, which seemed much quieter. But he was not idle. He practiced swordsmanship during the day and refined the best spirit stones at night. His life was extremely fulfilling. The true qi in his body was also growing day by day. Ding, it is detected that the host has practiced for more than 8 hours today. It is really too hard. Reward the host with a chance to draw a lottery. A turntable appeared in front of Ling Feng again. Different from the various strange talents on the talent lottery. This time, the turntable was full of strange items. Overalls, basketball, Ultraman figure, Qinggan sword, Yulong knife, 100 purple bamboo seedlings, a bag of super delicious rice. Draw a lottery. Ling Feng took a look and started the lottery. The pointer on the turntable turned quickly and then slowly stopped at 100 purple bamboo seedlings. Ling Feng glanced at the bare Piaomio Peak. It would be nice to plant these bamboo seedlings on Piaomio Peak and take care of it. Now that he lives here, the appearance must be at least acceptable. So, in addition to practicing martial arts, he began to plant purple bamboo seedlings on Piaomio Peak. This seedling grows very fast. Ling Feng planted it on the same day, and it grew a lot taller the next day, which made Ling Feng exclaim incredible. In response, the system just said proudly, "Products produced by the system must be top-notch."